Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Decoded. I am your sister D. It is a pleasure and a blessing to be able to make another episode. So, today's episode, we are going to be talking about power. This five-letter word that has so much importance, so much significance to it, but yet a lot of believers, a lot of saints don't really access it to our full potential, all right? We don't really access it the way that we could access it. So we're just going to really hone in and focus on power, on how to speak your power, right? And we're going to look at some biblical examples of powerful men of the Most High who knew their power, recognized their power, used and accessed their power, and spoke their power. And we're going to really be doing some digging deep into how we can also do the same because the last time I checked, the Most High does not change, He changes not. So if we see biblical examples of true warriors and men of Yah using that power and understanding their power for their benefit because they were so righteous and because they really followed the Most High's ways, then who is to say that we in this present day and age cannot do the same? I personally believe that what they did then, we can do now. So we just have to recognize that and believe it. Not only just, think about it, but actually believe it because we serve an Elohim. We serve a God who works on faith, right? He can do as much as he can do, but we have to have the faith so that what we need, what we desire to happen can come into fruition into this physical realm from the spirit realm. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. The first thing I want to do is get started with a very important Bible verse. And the Bible verse we will be looking at today is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. And it states, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." So that's a very, very impactful and vital verse, especially for today's topic. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. What does that really mean to you? Right? Just take a second to think about that. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Well, I will say the way that I interpret it is pretty simple, it's pretty plain, pretty clear. What we say comes in and manifests itself, whether that be words that are loving and kind and sweet and positive, right? Or whether they be the opposite, the antithesis, which are negative, harmful, deleterious, dreadful, right? Words of death, words of evil. These things truly do impact and affect the world around us and the people around us. So we have a lot of power, we have a lot of ability and control to be able to affect our world, right? Ourselves and those that we interact with on a day to day basis, right? And even the second part that says, "And they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." Ooh, that's also a very important part, right? We are going to be eating the fruit, right? We are going to be receiving whatever we say, right? That's the power. If we speak life and we speak positivity, right, into our futures, we are going to be receiving the fruit of that. We're going to be receiving the repercussions and the consequences of that. But if we speak negativity and evil, we are going to be receiving the consequences of that. So we have to be very judicious, very careful, very cognizant of what we say, right? Because what we say is a result of how we feel and the heart that we have. And that's why it's very important to always try to have a pure heart and a clean heart. That's what the Most High looks for as well. A person that is pure in heart, clean conscience, all of those things, all of those elements factor into our mindset and our words and the life that we live. So, what I want to do now is just to look at two biblical examples of the power of the tongue, right? The very first biblical example we are going to be looking at is taken from this story of Elisha and the 42 young men or youths. So let's take a look at that. All right, so we are in Second Kings chapter 2. We're going to actually be starting at verse 22, reading all the way down to verse 25. And it states, verse 22, so the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. So we see the context now as we're talking about Elisha, right? Verse 23, and he went up, who is he? Elisha. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. 24. And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth two she bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them. Verse 25. And he came from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria. So there's a few things I want to highlight. We see the overall theme of this story is Elisha. He's traveling, and then according to the King James version, little children come and mock him and pick on him, make fun of him, and they say, really terrible things about his bald head, and they're even mocking him because he was Elijah with the J, his servant, and they're saying go up, kind of like how Elijah went up. And of course, that grieved his spirit. He turned around and cursed them, and two she bears came and attacked or tear, which means literally tore, those 42 children. Now, we don't know if they died, we don't know, but we know they were physically attacked and assaulted and mauled. One thing I want to highlight and do first before I get into my deeper point is understanding what this is really saying in the Hebrew. So let's take a look at a few things in Hebrew first. All right, so here we see the Hebrew meaning of the word little, and that is actually katan or katon. That can mean a few different things because we know Hebrew is a language of limited words. So it can mean small, little, youngest, younger, least, less, lesser, little one, smallest, small things, young. It can also mean insignificant or unimportant. So it's interesting that the translators actually chose the word little when it could mean young as well. I personally believe that katan means or meant young or youth, because if you see the word little children, I know for me, I automatically think of elementary age kids, maybe, kinder, first, second grade, so five, six, seven. But it makes more sense, just my personal opinion, that it would mean young, right? Because they have to kind of have the understanding that Elisha was Elijah's um, mentee, or servant, if you will. And I don't know if a 5 or 6 year old would, know those deeper understandings. So that word little, which is katan, it can mean, like I said before, young. It can mean small. It can mean little, but I personally am of the belief that it actually meant to signify young. So let's look at the word children. Let's see what children is in Hebrew. All right, so the word for children in Hebrew is ne'er, and that has a few different meanings as well. Young man, servant, child, lad, young, children, youth, babe, boys, young. So it can actually mean a young man. Now, when I think of young man, I don't think of elementary age, kinder, first, second graders, 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds. I think of a young man meaning it can be like a teenager type of age, or in their 20s even. I think 18, 19, 20, 21, even early 20s as a young man. It can also mean servant. It can mean servant. Now, it can mean children, it can mean youth, it can mean boys. So it's just interesting, though, like I said before, that the translators decided to automatically say little children. So I'm just trying to picture Elijah seeing a bunch of little children, seeing 42 to be exact, little children picking and making fun of him. I don't know. I think for me, it makes more sense to to see young men, maybe teenage age, 18, 19, 20, 21, and remember how many there were, 42. That's a lot. That's a lot. So I just wanted to kind of highlight what it says in the actual Hebrew. So we could be talking about little children. I don't think it's likely. I think it's more probable we're talking about young men or even young servants that are mocking him. Because remember, they also had to be knowledgeable of who Elisha was, who Elijah's mentor was, what happened, all of these things. So let's keep that in mind as we look at the story. So now imagine this is Elijah. He's walking, minding his business, and all of a sudden, as he's walking down the path, he sees and hears a group, a large group, not just a small group. We're talking about 42. 42 of anybody is a large number, and you're just one person, but you know your power. So he's walking, and all of a sudden, he sees 42 youth. We're going to imagine this is the youth, right? This is the group. And they're chanting and, hurling insults and ridiculing him, mocking him, saying, "Go up, Baldy, go up." Like, go up like your mentor Elijah did. "Go up, Baldy. You don't have any hair. Ha ha. Look at you. You don't have any hair. We know what happened to your mentor. Go up just like he did, like leave." And so, of course, this is going to disturb your spirit. Imagine you're Elijah, you see this big group of youth, young men ridiculing you. So Elijah did what any man of God or any man of the Most High who knows his power would do. He used his power. He turned around, he looked at them, and he said, "Cursed, you are cursed in the name of Yahuwah." And then we see two bears coming, two female bears to be exact. They came and they tore those 42 youths up. They mauled them, right? They were assaulted, attacked by the bears. Now, like I said before, I don't know if they survived it or not, but the point is, Elisha knew his what? Power. He accessed what? His power. He was in tune with what? His power. And as children of the Most High, we have to understand that we serve an Elohim who created all of these things that we see and even things that we cannot see. So we serve the ultimate power of all powers, the one who created power, the one whose very being is power. Without power, Yahweh would not be who he is. Without power, we would not be who we are. And so, as his children, as his offspring, right? We are made in the image, in his image. We are made in his likeness. We have to recognize, we have to acknowledge, we even have to study and pray for understanding about our power. The beautiful thing about Elisha is he saw his mentor access his power. And because of that, he understood what power looked like, right? Understanding that Elijah went up in the whirlwind, right? And we're talking about one of the most impactful prophets of the Old Testament, Elijah. And so not only did Elisha see power being utilized and accessed and manifested into this realm, it's one thing to see something, right? It's another thing to see it and then act upon what you have seen. He acted on that. He said within himself, "Oh, I know what power looks like because my mentor utilized his power. I know I can do the same. I know the power of my words." We have to also remember that words were the very same thing that formed our what? Universe. So if the Most High can form this universe with the very words that he spake, which I believe could have also been vibrations or frequencies, then we can do the same thing. Remember the verse that we have in Proverbs: death and life are in the power of the tongue, right? So Elijah decided to use his power for his benefit. And of course, it was to the youths or to the young men's or young servants' demise, but you also have to learn a lesson. No one can mess, upset, disturb a prophet of the Most High without suffering the consequences. If you are a child of the Most High, you have to know your Father is going to be protective of you. Recognize and take advantage of the fact that we have a Father who is very protective. You don't have to be a doormat. You are not called to be a doormat. You are called to understand and access your power and use it to make this world a better place, right? And so let us remember that if Elisha could do it, we can do it. Now, am I saying that we need to just wish evil upon everyone who does us wrong? No, I'm not necessarily saying that. But I'm saying he used his power to benefit him in that situation. So we should be able to use our power to benefit us in various situations as well. All right, so let's look at our second example of a biblical patriarch, man of Yah, who knew his power. We're going to look at 2 Kings chapter 20, verses 1 through 6. And here we have the story of Hezekiah on his deathbed. All right. Verse 1 says, in those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and the prophet Isaiah the son of Amoz came to him and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Verse 2, then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord, saying, verse 3, I beseech thee, O Lord, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. Verse 4, and it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying, verse 5, turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord. Verse 6, and I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city for my own sake and for my servant David's sake. Ooh, so that's a very powerful 6 verses there about King Hezekiah and how he accessed his power. So now just imagine this is King Hezekiah, because he was a man in his, it's estimated to be late 30s, early 40s when he was on his deathbed, right? He's on his deathbed. He's, probably in pain. Isaiah is telling him of the prophecy that he is going to be transitioning soon. And of course, Hezekiah did not want that. So he turned to the wall and then, cried and pleaded to the Most High, can you please just give me some more years, give me some more time? Please remember me. Remember the fact that I've been, your servant. I've done what you have asked. And so then Isaiah leaves, and the Most High tells Isaiah, no, tell him I will extend his life 15 years. He has 15 more years of life. So it goes to show that you being a faithful servant of Yah, right? You being a loyal servant, a loyal child, trying to walk in righteousness as much as possible, trying to have a pure heart as much as possible, trying to be a bearer of the fruits of the Spirit as much as possible, does matter. It counts for something, right? There can be and may be a time in your life when you really need to bring that back up to the Most High and say, please, Yah, please remember me. Remember all the things I've done. Remember when I did this. Remember when I did that. Remember when someone said this about you, but I said no. Remind him. Not saying he forgets, of course, but it's for our benefit, our sake, that we're telling him these things. And depending upon Yah's decision, His grace, His mercy, and of course His plans for you, He can grant you that. It is believed that, nobody knows exactly when they are going to die. That's still true. Nobody knows exactly when. But Hezekiah was given a roundabout estimate. He knew that 15th year, one of those days, that 15th year, he was going to transition. If this was the year 2000 and he was on his deathbed, and he pleaded and asked the Most High to spare him and to extend his life. And the Most High said, yes, okay, 15 more years. He knew at some point in time in the year 2015 that he would die. He did not know the day, he did not know the hour, he did not know the second, but he knew the year. So it also goes to show that you can have that close connection and understanding and knowledge and wisdom about yourself because he knew what year he was going to die. Now, some people don't want to know that, but Hezekiah knew. I'm just saying. That just goes to show that the Most High is willing to share knowledge, right? The Bible also says, pray for wisdom and you will gladly be given wisdom. The Most High will gladly give wisdom to you. He really will. So that's just another example of the power. It takes power. It takes knowing that you have power and utilizing that power to even ask the Most High for an extension of your life, right? To even know that that's possible to ask for takes wisdom. So alongside power comes knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? You have to have the knowledge to be able to tap into that power and then have that power transferred from your mind, from your heart, from your words into an actual tangible thing, right? And so, as believers, as children of the Most High Yah, we have to remember we can also access our what? Power. And just remember, right? Try to be in good standing, right standing with the Most High. That way, when it does come time for you, or when the time comes for you to access your power, He will gladly give you the resources and the spirit and everything you need to access it. Because if our forefathers did it before in the days of old, then we are able to do it now. There's nothing new under the sun. So if they did it before, we can do it now. There's some type of misunderstanding, misconception that, oh, these things we read in the Bible or are not real, not true, fairy tales. They had a certain amount of power we don't have now. Mm-mm-mm-mm. If anything, we have more power because of Yahusha Hamashiach, because of Christ, because the Mashiach. So he also said we have more power, right? Let us not forget the very impactful verse, John 14, verse 12, that says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. We know that's Yahusha, the Messiah talking, and he says that we will have even more power, more ability to do greater works than what he did. He is telling you you have power as well, right? So we should not walk around feeling helpless, hopeless, weak, defeated. No, it's the opposite. For the Most High has not given us a spirit of fear. All of those weak, low level, low spirited, low vibration feelings of defeat and um, helplessness and all of those, that is not the spirit the Most High has given us, right? We have power, we have ability, right? We have victory. So use this, please use this in your daily walk, in your daily life, right? These are some very powerful scriptures that have definitely helped me. I've been using and accessing my power even more because I see these scriptures in Second Kings, because I see the scripture in John. I am a powerful being because the Most High Yah has given me power, because I am His child, and because I serve an Elohim who is power, He exudes power, and I am His creation. I am His daughter. So you, please believe the same thing. Please access your power. Don't allow your enemies to walk over you. Don't allow your enemies to make you feel defeated. Speak these things as though they were. Use your words, right, to get the victory, whatever that looks like in your life, right? I hope this has blessed you. And also remember, you have to be in, if you're in great standing with the Most High, then hey, He'll be more apt. Oftentimes he'll be more apt to really help you out. So just make sure you're living your life for him and doing what he will have you do. That way when it comes time for you to say, Abba Yah, please help me with this. And we know he has grace as well, but it's always good to still be as righteous as possible in general for many reasons. But just remember your power. Don't let anyone ever believe you don't have it. The enemy is powerless against you because you are a child of the Most High, because you are saved under His Son Yahushua Hamashiach. also known as Jesus. All right, I hope this has blessed you, and tap into your power. Shalom.